Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Keep It Pro training call, brought to you by Networking Wisdom each and every Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific for the past 5 years. The purpose of this call is not only to learn the skills for success in business and network marketing, but also in life. Thanks for joining. My name is Meredith, and I have the honor and privilege to introduce the creator and host, Mr. Romacio Fulcher. Romacio is a well-sought-after leader, trainer, and coach, as well as a very successful international entrepreneur. At the age of 25 years old, he made his first millions in mortgage and real estate, and shortly after, he was introduced to network marketing. Because he was an ideal student and learned from the best, he quickly rose to the top. In fact, he has been one of the top 50 MLM income earners in the entire world. He has over 750,000 people in his organization, and he's done over $1 billion in sales. He knows how to make money and knows how to make money fast. He loves to have fun, but most of all, he loves to share the wisdom he has gained over the years. In fact, he's helped countless individuals make life-changing income all over the world. What I love most about Romacio is his ability to know exactly what his audience needs to hear each and every time he speaks. I highly suggest that you find a quiet place and grab a pen and paper, because you're going to want to take notes and remember these nuggets of wisdom he's going to share today. Without further ado, here's your millionaire mentor, the marketplace minister, California kid, Mr. Romacio Fulcher. Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me loud and clear, Meredith?
Yes, I can.
Thank you so much for stepping on, being our host. We appreciate you and the contribution you're making. Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you back to another edition of the Keep It Pro training call. Guys, we've been doing this call now for over 5.5 years. I tell you, I feel like I get the most out of these calls. I feel like I truly get the most out of these calls. And so I know this last week, I want to first of all just say thank you to all of you that have reached out, family members and friends, due to all that's taking place here this week. I appreciate you. I thank you for your love and support. Trust me, it goes a long way. You never know whose prayers you're living on. You never know whose prayers you're living on. So thank you to all that have reached out. Listen, I've got a very, very special message here today that I really want you to buckle up for. Whether you're new or whether you're someone that's been here with us throughout the years every week, I really got a special message here today for everyone listening. Would you do me a favor? Grab yourself something to write with, or put yourself in a position where you're going to be able to take some notes. Put yourself in a position where you can take some notes. This is going to be what I call a powerful call. This is going to be a powerful call. Very simple but profound. Very simple but profound. As a matter of fact, if you don't mind, send out a quick text message to a family member, a friend, maybe a colleague, and ask them to jump on real quick. If they can't make it, by all means, make sure you send them the recording. If they can't make it, make sure you send them the recording. Guys, today we're going to we got a special topic that we're going to be talking about today. Today is going to be really, really awesome. What I'm going to be talking about today is we've got 50 days left. 50 days left until we cross over into 2022. Can you believe that, guys? Can you believe that? 50 days are left until we cross into 2022. You know, I remember when all the hoopla and all the talk and everybody had something to say about, man, we're going into the 2000s. Can you believe it? It's been almost 22 years since we crossed the barrier of the 2000 mark. But listen, I'm going to give you something today that I'm telling you what we're going to discuss, and what I'm going to leave you with today is I promise you it will work 1 billion percent. 1 billion percent. I promise you that what we're discussing today is laser accurate. Before we jump into it, I'm aware that we have people that are on the line listening live and that will listen to the replay. I'm aware that we have non-believers. There are people that are listening to this call that are not believers in Christ, and that's okay. That's okay. You know, that is completely fine. I love it. There are people that are on this call that are Muslims. There are people that are listening to this call that are Catholic, Buddhist, and there are people that are on this call that are flat out heathens. You know what I'm saying? So I love it. I love it that you're here. I'm aware of who I'm talking to. I understand that many of you that will listen may not fully understand all of the principles that I'm going to be spewing, but that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so elementary, so simple today that I promise you, every single one of you are going to get, and my hope is that you receive this seed that I'm about to plant into you today. I'm about to plant a seed. We've got 50 days left, and I'm going to show you from a spiritual principle how to really, really reel in the harvest that you're expecting. I know all of you are waiting on something. All of you that are listening are waiting on something. We've got boyfriends on the line waiting on their relationship to get to a place where they can be happy and content. We've got girlfriends waiting on that. We've got husbands and wives that have been on the outs for a while and just don't know if this is going to go the distance. And they're praying and waiting for reconciliation. We've got children on this line that are listening that are in pain, struggling with different sorts of illnesses and different sorts of injustices, and they're just praying and hoping for change, waiting on something. We've got professionals on this line, business people that are waiting for a promotion, okay? We've got entrepreneurs on this line, waiting for miracles. We've got, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, we've got people waiting for healing. We've got people waiting for all sorts of different things. I'm getting ready to teach you today. Today. Everybody say today. Today, exactly how to reel in the harvest that you're expecting. You see, many people don't understand that the way that you wait, it's going to determine how long you have to wait, okay? Many people don't understand that the way that you're waiting. And what does that mean, the way I wait? It means the posture in which you're waiting in, you know, and we're going to get into that. I'm not going to get all scientific. My goal today is to keep it so elementary, so simple, because I need everyone listening to me live and listening to the replay. I need everyone to fully understand what we're talking about. I can't afford for any one of you to be lost, confused, not quite sure what did he mean by that. I've got to keep it so simple. So point number one, if you're taking notes with me today, everyone is waiting on something, including you. Everyone is waiting on something. And what we're going to do here today, guys, is I'm going to, first of all, let you know that it doesn't matter how righteous you are or aren't. Let me say that again. It doesn't matter how righteous you are or are not. Now, what does that mean? Please write that down. Sometimes many people believe that, well, if I'm not fully righteous and if I haven't lived, quote unquote, a perfect life, then I don't have the right to expect a reward. I don't have the right to expect God to heal me. I don't have the right to expect a promotion in my life. I don't have the right to expect healing in my body, reconciliation in my relationship. And so a lot of times that's nothing but the trick of the enemy. Listen to me and listen to me well, please. No matter who you are, where you are, each and every single one of us is listening to this call. It is not by your righteousness that the miracle is going to happen. I know you've been working hard. I know you went to Yale and Princeton and Harvard, and I know that you've been trying to live as best you could, but listen to me. Each and every single one of us, we are all flawed individuals. There's not one person, including myself, that is perfect. So you have to block out of your mind that you are the one that's going to determine the reward that you're going to get. You got to get it out of your mind that it's because of you. You made it happen. See, as long as you keep thinking that, there's always going to be limitations to what you can do. You see, I'm talking about how to reel in a harvest. I'm talking about how to make miracles happen. That's what we're talking about. I'm going to teach you a principle today, how to actually go ahead and reel that harvest in, to basically bring the manifestation to what you've been believing for, what you've been praying for, what you've been expecting. I'm going to share with you today a principle that we know it works. It's 100%. It's 100%. It works. Okay? It's 100%. But before we dive into it, what I want to let you know is, I want you to know that we know you're not perfect. God knows you're not perfect. God knows that we sin and we miss the mark. He knows that we're fleshly creatures and that we're striving to get better and that we make mistakes. So I want you to, first of all, understand that your inheritance, in other words, your miracle, the thing that you're expecting, is not predicated upon you being perfect. You got to get this. Please write that down. You got to understand that you are perfectly fine and well qualified for what it is you're expecting. You are perfectly fine and well qualified for what it is you're expecting. Now, that's point number 2. Point number 3. You have to understand, we got 50 days left, and you have to understand you do have to do something. And we're going to talk about that. For you to birth, for you to manifest what it is that you're expecting, I'm talking to you. You have to do something. And we're going to get into what it is that you have to do. We're going to get into that. That's point number 3. You do have to do something. All right? So now, here's what we want to do. You got those 3 points? All right? So now let's get into point number 3. When we talk about you have to do something, let me ask you something. Do you truly want what it is you've been believing for, what it is you've been working towards, what it is you've just been sacrificing for? Do you truly want it to come to pass? Now, look, I'm not a genie, and God is not Santa Claus, but I'm teaching you today from a spiritual principle that we know that works. We know it works, okay? So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend the next 30 to 40 minutes talking about point number 3, what it is that you have to do to be able to reel in the harvest that you're expecting, to reel in the manifestation that you're expecting, for it to really come to pass in your life. Okay? We're going to really talk about that right now. Now, I want to set let me give you the theme for what we're about to do. We're on point number 3, and I'm going to talk about, for the next 30 to 40 minutes, I'm going to be on basically sharing with you what you have to do, okay, in order to reel in the harvest and the miracle that you're expecting. I'm going to go for about 30 to 40 minutes. If you could put up tape recorder to this phone call right now and record it, otherwise you can catch the replay, because I'm about to give it to you, and I promise you this is something you're going to want to re-listen to. You cannot afford to just hear me today and just kind of hear bits and pieces. You can't afford that right now. There's 50 days left in this year for you to go ahead and bring that thing to pass. All right? Now, I want you to write this down. If you're not sowing, you're not going. Write that down. If you're not sowing, S-O-W-I-N-G, you're not going. Write that down, guys. Every single one of us, one of the biggest reasons, let me just tell you, the main reason why God created you was to serve. The main reason why God created you was to serve. When God created the world, and by the way, he created the world in literally 3 to 4 days. The whole world. He created the whole world in 3 to 4 days. Okay? So when you sit there and you think about what it is that you're looking to manifest, what it is that you're looking to have happen or bring to pass in your life, you've got to, I know it's going to be hard for some of you, but you've got to understand that it can be done. right now. Let me say that again. You've got to accept and you've got to understand. And I know not all of you have the measure of faith to believe that. But I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to get that. You've got to understand that it can happen right now. It's possible for it to happen right now. Now, again, as I say that, please understand, God is not he's not a Santa Claus. He's not a magic trick. God is not a fair God. He's a just God. Okay? And there's a difference between being fair and being just. I want you to understand he's about principles. So if you can get the principle and you can begin to actually do the principles, you can actually speed up the manifestation of what it is you're wanting. Now, let me say that again. If you can begin to do the principles, and we're going to talk about them, you can speed up the manifestation of what it is you're looking for, what it is you're expecting. Because it's about principles. It's not about your name is this or that. It's about principles, okay? So I want you to understand, if you're not sowing, you're not going. The way God developed the reward system in this lifetime, the principles that he set up around rewards, write that down. The way he set it up, it's about sowing and reaping. Sowing seed and reaping a harvest. Sowing and reaping. Sowing and reaping. Seed time and harvest is what it says in the Bible. Seed time and harvest. Seed time and harvest. As you guys all can imagine, when you plant seeds, it's really simple. You plant, you wait, and then you reap the harvest. I said it again. You plant the seed, you wait, and then you reap the harvest. Let me say it again. You sow a seed, you wait, and then you reap the harvest. I'm going to say that 2 more times. I need you to write that down. You should laminate that and put that on your refrigerator. This is how it works as it relates to anything. Relationships, parenting, school, business, prosperity, everything. Think of a baby. You planted the seed inside the young woman. You wait, boom, and then you reap a harvest. That's how it works. Repeat after me. The promotion that I'm expecting is based on my sowing. The promotion that I'm expecting is based on my sowing. The promotion that I'm expecting, or let's say it a different way, the harvest that I'm expecting is based on my sowing. And today I'm going to dive so deep into this word sowing that I want this jingle going off in your mind by the time we get off this phone today, guys. If I'm not sowing, I'm not going. 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 So in order for God to work, God works on principles. He 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 works on, yes, does God care about you? He sure does. Does God know you have a need for this, that, and that? Yes, he does. But he works on principles. He works on principles. He works on principles. That's how he works. Right? Okay, so in the waiting season, so we're going to talk about sowing a seed, we're going to talk about waiting, and we're going to talk about reaping a harvest. That's what we're going to do, okay? So the first thing is sowing a seed. When we talk about sowing a seed, money is not the only thing that we're talking about. Is money a seed? It absolutely is. I'm going to give you a direct instruction today. right now. When we exit this phone call, by the time we're done, I want to challenge you and I want to encourage you. I want you to go look in your bank account right now, and for the next however many weeks it is until we get to the end of the year, I want you to start sowing financial seeds for what it is you're expecting. I'm not going to tell you how much. Many of you know the story of the woman that literally, she had 2 smites. And you say, what is a smite? Let's just say it was like she had 2 pennies. That's all she had. And that was absolutely amazing. And she got tremendously blessed because her heart, she gave out of her heart what she could. And there were other people that gave a whole lot more, but she gave what she could, and she was still blessed tremendously. So it's not about the amount. It's about the principle. It's about the principle. It's about the principle. It's about the what? Principle. So instruction number 1, for the next however many weeks it is until the end of this year, you should be sowing a financial seed or seeds for what it is you're expecting. It's really simple. When you finally release what's in your hand, God will release what's in his hand. It's a principle. Okay? When God allowed his only begotten son to die for all of us, God planted a seed. A seed. That was a seed. He planted a perfect seed for all of us. Okay? These are principles. So anytime you want, according to God, when you are expecting a manifestation of something, write this down. The question is, and it will always be, have you planted targeted seeds? And I'm not done talking about seeds yet. Write that down. I'm going to say that 2 more times. Anytime you are expecting a harvest of any kind, healing harvest, financial harvest, relationship harvest, children, any type of harvest that you're expecting, my question to you, whoever you are, no matter where you are in the world, have you planted targeted seeds? Have you? If you haven't, that's why I want you to start this exercise as soon as this call hangs up. All right? Let's continue to talk about other seeds you can plant. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe you might not have any money. Maybe you might have some extra rolls of toilet paper. Can you take a roll of toilet paper and plant that as a seed? Remember, listen to me and listen to me well. God created you to serve. He didn't create you to be perfect. He already knew you wasn't going to be perfect. But he created you to serve. And when we talk about how you wait for what it is you're expecting, the wait, when we say how you wait will determine how long you wait. In that waiting period, what you're supposed to be doing is consistently serving. Consistently serving. Consistently serving. So, back to my roll of toilet paper or toilet tissue, maybe you might not have any money, but can you take an extra roll of toilet tissue, take it to the homeless shelter and say, hey, listen, I want to donate this. This is what I have, and it was just placed on my heart to donate some toilet tissue. Do you have any extra toys laying around that you know that the child really doesn't need those toys anymore? Can you take those? Matter of fact, grab a pen and paper. Write. I want you to write right now. What can I sow? What do you have to sow? What do you have to sow? Come on, let's do it right now. Right now. I told you this is going to be an action call. What can you write it right now? What can you right now? What do you have to sow? What's in the garage? What's in the kitchen? What do you have? What do you have? What do you have? What do you have? When you release what's in your hand, God will release what's in his hand. It's your heart posture, guys. What do you have? What do you have to sow? Write it down. You got some golf clubs. You got a bowling ball. What do you have? You got some extra sheets. You got an extra vacuum cleaner. Maybe you got some extra Windex. I want you to think, right, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Write everything down right now you have to sow. Everything. What do you have to sow? What do you have to sow? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not just talking about the stuff that you don't need anymore or the stuff that you have in excess. What are you willing to sacrifice? We're still talking about sowing seeds. We're talking about sowing. What can you sacrifice? I'm not just talking about giving the surplus or the extra stuff that you have, although that's great. That's great. But what can you sacrifice? What can you sacrifice? Maybe you might have 4 or 5 watches. Maybe you might have 4 or 5 watches. Can you sacrifice one of those as a seed? See, I need you to get this in your heart. This is how God works. He's about principles. And what we're talking about today or right now, we're talking about seeds. I want you to write down on a piece of paper. Right, what seeds do you have to give? What seeds will you give? Can you afford to give? Will you sacrificially give? What seeds? Maybe you have some extra furniture. Maybe you got a TV in the other room. It looks good on the wall, but you never watch it. Are you willing to sacrifice that? I want you to write. I want you to write. Keep writing. Right. What do you have? What do you have? What do you have? Okay? We're talking about sowing seeds. So far, we've talked about money. Now we're talking about things that you can actually use as a seed. Maybe you might have an extra vehicle. What are you willing to sacrifice? See, if I could get you to understand that sacrifice gets God's attention. Sacrifice gets God's attention. Sacrifice gets God's attention. Sacrifice gets God's attention. Because he gave the greatest sacrifice of all, his only begotten Son. Okay? All right, so we've talked about financial seeds. We've talked about things. I'm just trying to give you some time to write. I want you writing right now. What will you sow? What do you have to sow? All right, let's talk about some more seeds you have. Okay, you can sow your time. You can sow your time. Your time is a seed. Okay? Who can you go spend some time with? Who can you pick up the phone and just, give them a call and say, hey, you was on my heart. I just wanted to hear your voice. I didn't want anything at all. Just wanted to give you a call and let you know that I'm just happy to hear your voice. I'm happy to hear that you're still moving and grooving, and just know that I'm praying for you. That's all. That's it. That's all. I wanted to call you. Again, we're talking about your time. Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. See, what we're talking about is we're talking about the law of servitude. You're going to have to understand, for you to go up, you've got to serve up. You've got to serve up. It's about serving. Listen, you can't keep hearing me say this, and then you wonder why it's not happening. You've got to serve your way into the kingdom. You've got to serve your way to the top. You've got to serve your way into that promotion you're expecting. You've got to serve your way into that healing that you desperately need in your family, in your body, in your kids' body. You got to serve your way. Get this through your soul. I know you're in pain. I know you're sad. I know you're frustrated. I know you've been waiting. But at the same time, what God is looking at, he's looking at you. He's looking to say, are you serving? Are you serving? See, the miracle is not going to happen if you're just sitting there just doing nothing and you're expecting something to take place. It's not going to happen that way. Yes, God is arranging things. Yes, God is working on your behalf. Yes, things are being dealt with, in places that you can't see. That's true. But let's get down to brass tacks. What do I have to do? And I'm sharing with you from a spiritual principle, what you have to do is serve. That's what you have to do. Above and beyond just your job. We're not talking about just your job. Because frankly, at your job, you do it for a paycheck. You do it for a paycheck. So we're talking about above and beyond your job. Seed number 3 is your time. Seed number 3 is your time. Perhaps maybe you can babysit somebody's kids. That's a sacrifice for some of you. Maybe call somebody up and say, "Hey, listen, I know you've got a large family, or you've got, if you ever need help, just somebody to watch the child for a few hours, maybe 4 or 5 hours, whatever. Hey, I want you to know, put my name top of the list. I'm willing to help." You see that? God feels all that. The universe feels all that. Real quick story while you're writing. I want you, as you're thinking about right now, that time, your time is a seed. Your time is a seed. We've got 50 days left to reel in the harvest that you're expecting. 50 days. And I'm telling you, I know he can do it. I know he will do it. But you've got to put yourself in position for it to happen. And the number one way that I know that it's going to happen is through servitude. You've got to serve. You've got to serve. We should be waking up every morning saying, "God, I'm at your service. What can I do today, Lord? What can I do today? How can I serve you today?" God is not dumb. He's very wise. He knows what you're waiting on. He knows what you're expecting. He knows it. But he wants to know that while you're bleeding, while you're hurting, while you're still expecting, can he use you? Can he use you? See, the problem is, and I'm going to shift real quick while you're writing, the problem with a lot of people is we live in an entitlement. We feel that God is entitled to bless us. We feel because I've done this, I've done that. I already told you. It's not by your righteousness. God does not keep a scorecard and say, "Hey, you know what? You're more righteous than Tommy. So because you're more righteous, I'm going to bless you and not bless Tommy." That's not how he works. It doesn't work that way. Go read the scripture. It does not work that way. It doesn't work that way. So you've got to get out of this entitlement syndrome. What do you mean, entitlement syndrome? Well, it's where you're sitting back and you're just waiting for it to happen. And haven't you heard before that you're waiting on God, but God is saying, no, I'm waiting on you. See, the situation hasn't changed because I'm trying to work on you. I'm using the situation to actually work on you. And if we would just align with God and we would flow with him, boom, next thing you know, boom, the miracle happens. I'm reminded of, and I know some of these stories are spiritual, but there was a lady in the Bible, there was a lady in the Bible, long story short, she said that if I could touch the hem of his garment, I will be healed. In other words, she knew that if I just did this, I'll be healed. And this lady was very sick. That's all I'm going to say. She was very sick. But she knew, she had enough faith to know that if she could just touch, if I could just get over, I'm already sick. Listen to this. I'm already sick. And this lady was really, 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 really sick. I'm talking about not no flu. She was really sick. I'm talking about mega sick. But she knew her faith was so strong that if she could just touch the hem of his garment, she knew she would be healed. And so the action that she took, the action that she took is she began to pursue when she saw Christ walking by, and she began to make her way through the crowd just so that she could just touch the hem of his garment. And what happened? She was healed. What I'm saying to you, the miracle that you're expecting is not going to happen if you're just sitting there thinking all day, but you're not serving. I'm reminded of the story of Joseph. Real quick, I'm not going to get fancy on you. Real quick, Joseph was living good, doing well, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, he did nothing wrong. He was innocent, but he got thrown into jail. It's a much longer story than that. I just want to condense it for the purposes of this illustration. He was an innocent. He got thrown into jail. Can you imagine being innocent, didn't do anything, but now you in jail? But while he was in jail, Joseph continued to use the gift that God had given him of interpreting dreams. He continued to serve. Hello, and anybody listen to me. I'm in a place where I don't deserve to be. I'm convicted of a crime that I did not do, and I'm still what? I'm serving. And because he kept serving, he kept serving, he kept serving, he kept serving, he kept using the gift that God had given him. He kept serving. And y'all know how the rest of that story went. Next thing you know, some 2 years later, Joseph was running all of Pharaoh's, his whole everything. He went from a place of nobody knew him to now he's the biggest man on campus. He went from obscurity to prominence. He went from obscurity to prominence, just like that. Because he kept serving. He kept serving. He kept serving. In other words, the miracle is going to happen through your serving. The miracle is going to happen through you serving. In other words, you serving over here and God's working over there. Say it again. You're serving over here doing X, Y, and Z with the babysitting, whatever, and God is actually he's working over there on the very miracle that you're expecting. See, we have to all learn that. We have to all learn that it's going to happen through serving. And so even though you're going through whatever you're going through, the heart posture, write that down, the heart posture you should have, it's really simple. God, use me. God, use me. Say it out loud. God, use me. God, use me. God, use me. How can you use me today? I'm at your service. How can I be used today? I'm at your service. How can I be used today? I'm at your service. After you get done, praying to God and asking God and telling him what you want and what you need, then you need to say, God, how can you use me? Use me, Lord. Use me, Lord. Use me. I'm at your service. Use me. I've already prayed about the promotion. I've already prayed about the healing. I've already prayed about the relationship. I've already given that stuff to you. Now use me like you did David. Use me like you did Joseph. Use me like you did the Samaritan woman. Use me. Okay? So we're talking about number 3. If you're still writing, we're talking about sowing a seed of time, your time. Okay? Now, there's a bunch of seeds you can sow. Kindness, right? But I think you guys get the general picture here. The main thing I want you to understand is every week when we do these calls, I'm sowing a seed. This is why we don't charge at all. We don't charge. We don't sell you anything on this call. No. Absolutely free. I'm sowing a seed. I'm sowing a seed. Right? And I want you to write real quickly. I want you to think of the seeds that you can sow. You can sow money, you can sow your time, and you can sow your treasures. So what am I sowing? What seed am I sowing every Sunday when we do this call? I'm sowing my treasure. I'm sowing my treasure. I'm sowing my time, and I'm sowing my treasure with all of you. You see? And let me share with you the principle. When you make it happen for someone else, God is going to make it happen for you. Okay? But what we want to do, ladies and gentlemen, for the remaining 50 days of the year of 2021, we want to be intentionally, we want to increase our sowing. When you can increase your sowing, let me give you an example. Have you ever heard of the term fasting, which means to go without, going, where you're, no food, no drink, or you only eat or drink between these hours, or you only eat this particular food? That's called fasting, right? Okay, well, when you're fasting, you're sowing a seed. That's a sacrifice. What did I say? Write it down. God responds to sacrifice. God responds to praise. God responds to sacrifice. God responds to praise. God responds to sacrifice. Okay? Write those two things down. So what we're saying here is we want to intentionally increase for the next 50 days our sowing. And one of the exercises we're doing on this call today is we're asking you to write down the seeds that you can sow. And we're going to ask you in just a few moments when we get off the phone here, we're going to ask you to take action right now. Whatever time of day, where it is, wherever you are in the world, doesn't matter. Take action right now as soon as you get off the phone. That's why I'm asking you to make some notes right now of what seeds you can plant and how you're going to do it. Decide now in your heart, right now. Because I can tell you for sure that the miracle you're expecting is in relation to the seeds that you plant. Now, some of you listening, you may be saying, wait a minute, I've been planting a seed for a long time, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years. I've been shocked. Okay, well, great. That's wonderful. That is absolutely wonderful. So you're understanding what we're saying. Right? But we want to increase it. We want to increase it. Somebody say increase. We want to increase our sowing. We want to see anytime you give anything, that is the Spirit of God. It doesn't matter that you are a sinner and because no one's perfect. But anytime you focus on giving, that's the light. That's bright. That's the bright light. That's not darkness. And what we're saying is we want you to purposely, intentionally increase your giving. Because I can tell you, if you're not sowing, you're not going. And the main thing that we want to leave you with is we want to make sure you understand that how you wait. So when I keep saying how you wait, what that means is you want to wait with an attitude of gratitude of how you can serve more. When we talk about how you wait, what that means is we know you're bleeding. We know you're hurting. We know you want your parents to be healed. We understand. But while you're waiting, the way you wait matters. It matters how long you're going to have to wait. Because while you're waiting for God to do it for you, you need to be trying to do it for someone else. Are you getting that? It's a principle. It's a principle. It's a principle. While you're waiting on God to do it for you, He gave you money, time, and treasures that you need to be sowing on behalf of someone else. Let me say it again. Do you realize I'm doing the call, right? God is using me and the gifts that He's given me to be an answer to some of you. But watch this. God will turn right back around and use some of you to be the answers to something I'm dealing with. Does that make sense to you? Do you see how that works? This is why I want you to understand this principle. We say it every Sunday. What we make happen for others, God will make happen for us. Now, we say that all the time, but the last 50 days of the year here, I want you to be intentional about it. I don't want you just to hear it anymore. I want you to be intentional. And today, we broke it down very simple, very elementary. So it doesn't matter what your background is, where you're from, believer, non-believer, none of that matters. We gave it to you simple today, very principally based, that if you do it right now, you're going to start to see this work. You're going to see it work. Because as you're waiting, you need to be waiting. You need to be waiting in a heart posture of giving more. Giving more. You want to be waiting, asking God every single day, God, use me. How can you use me today? Lord, use me. Lord, I want you to use me today. Show me how I can be used today. You have to say that. Show me how. I know I'm going to work. I know I got my kids and blah, 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 blah. But Lord, show me how I can be used today. See, what it is, it's a form of obedience. It's a form of sacrifice, right? It's a form of humility. It's all of that, right? It's all of those three things. And as God sees that from you or within you, that is when literally, boom, you're gonna notice a quickness in terms of answered prayers. You're gonna notice a quickness of resources come your way. answers come your way. Understanding comes your way. All because your posture while waiting for the thing that you're expecting, you're in a posture of, Lord, use me. Yeah, I'm hurting financially. Yeah, I'm hurting emotionally. Yeah, I'm hurt. I don't have the best of health, but Lord, still use me. Use me. Use me. I want you to get this. This is a principle that if you use it right now, and I'm encouraging you to increase. Somebody say increase. I will increase my sowing. I will increase my sowing. I will increase my sowing. You see, the worse it gets for you, increase the sowing more. The worse it gets, increase the sowing more. The worse it gets, increase the give more. The worse it gets, increase more. Don't stop. Do it more. I wish I had more time. See, one of the things that I love to study is I love to study when I go through the scriptures and I see that the miracle did happen. I like to study what was happening before it happened. What were they doing before it happened? And from my understanding, it never just happened as they were doing nothing. Ooh, there it is. It never just happened as they were doing nothing. They were always doing something. And maybe perhaps they had been doing that something for a consistent period of time, and then it happened. So I can tell you that we're spot on the money today. This doesn't need any review. You don't need to go check with anybody on, is this accurate? This is 1,000% accurate. It's about giving. We know that God created you to serve, but we know that we live in a world that sometimes makes us feel entitled. And so because we're entitled, we want everybody to serve us. And in reality, the higher up you go in life, the more humble and the more serving you should be doing. But the world doesn't teach us that. The world teaches us the higher up we go, the more people should be serving us. And that's not how God views it. He doesn't view it that way. Because the purpose in which why he created you and I was to serve. So there is no time for, oh, I'm retired from serving now. No. The more successful you become, the higher you go, the more service you should be giving. If you can really get this today, if you just, of all the calls you've heard us do, if you just were to apply just this one, I want to encourage you to re-listen to this call 7 times. Even if you understood everything that was said here today 7 times, I believe that when you re-listen to this call, something is going to come to your mind, and it's going to click for you. You cannot afford to miss this message. You can't afford it. I really believe some of us have been waiting for a long time. And you've been waiting just to hear what we're saying today. Just to hear what we're saying today. Are you, while waiting, saying, Lord, use me. Show me how I can be of service. Or are you just, home to work, 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 home to work? Say, Lord, show me how I can be of service. Use me. Doesn't matter if it's little, medium, or large. Use me. How can you use me? Again, we went through some of it. Money seed, time seed, treasure seed. Some of you are great listeners. Some of you are great listeners. I mean, just to sit there with somebody and listen to them for 20 minutes, you sold your time. Made them feel important. Some of you are wonderful encouragers. I mean, wow. You just have a gift of encourage. The worst of the worst, you could make them feel better. Just your presence and how you do what you do. Right? Some of you can take the most aggressive the most aggressive personality, and you have a way of just calming them down. It's a gift. I'm saying to you, be intentional with your sowing. Be intentional with your sowing. How does it work? How does farming work? It's really simple. You plant a seed into good soil. Into good soil. You wait. Now, I want you to think about it. If the farmer were just to wait without watering the seed, nurturing and tending to the ground, right? Will there ever be a harvest? Absolutely not. So how you wait, it does matter. In respect of your life, when we say how you wait, all that means is, are you waiting with a service-based posture? Are you waiting in a service-based posture? Or are you waiting saying, Lord, I'm waiting. I'm just sitting here. I'm waiting. 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 No, that's wrong. You want to be waiting in a service-based posture. Lord, use me. How can use me? How can you use me now? Show me how you can use me. Show me how I can be used. And guess what? He may tell you to go to your church and start passing out flyers for the Sunday service. He may tell you to do this. He may tell you to do that. But you got to ask. You've got to be intentional. Up your sowing. Remember what I said. If you're not sowing, you're not going. If you're not sowing, you're not going. If you're not sowing, you're not going. The purpose and the intent of this call today, there's 50 days left. And we want you to understand from a principle standpoint in a very simplistic way that all the harvest, all the miracles, and everything that you're expecting to happen in your life, from a promotion in your business, from sales in your business, from maybe attracting new employees to come and work with you at your job or your business, whatever it is that you're expecting, from a spiritual principle, it's based on your giving. It's based on your serving. And today, I've shown you 3 types of seeds. Planting the seed of money, whether it's 1 penny or $1 billion. It's the heart that matters. I'm asking you every week until the end of this year to consistently give some money. That's right. I'm asking you to sow, not to me. You're not sowing it to me. No. You sow it to wherever you feel it goes. Your church, if you're not going to church, somebody who in need, wherever you need to, whoever. You sow it to whomever. You make that decision, but you're sowing some money. Why? Because God responds to sacrifice. That's why. First seed. Second seed, you're sowing your time. Your time. Why? Because God responds to sacrifice. You're sowing your seed of time. Third seed, you're sowing your treasures. That means your gifts, things that you're good at, right? Your insight, your information, your treasures, your skill set, right? Because God responds to sacrifice. So while you're waiting, I want to encourage you to have the right heart posture, the posture of servitude. Lord, show me how I can serve more. Show me how I could be at your service. Show me how I could serve more. That is the goal. And I promise you, as you put more emphasis into serving, into releasing what's in your hand. What's in your hand? You've got money in your hand. You've got time in your hand. You've got treasures in your hand. When you release what's in your hand, God will release what's in his hand. But here's the key. What's in his hand is a whole lot bigger than what's in your hand. And so that's why I want to get this. I want to drive this in adamantly today. I want all of you to get this today. Now, we're about to get off the phone in 60 seconds. And what I'm expecting from all of us, I'm expecting you, if you heard me today, you should have some notes written down of exactly what you can give, what you're going to give. Money, time, and treasures, right? I gave you some ideas, but as soon as the phone hangs up, I'm expecting you to put the wheels in motion right now. Make the phone call. Call the person. Hey, I got something for you. I'm coming by. Listen, are you home? Are you there? Blah, blah, blah. I need to drop something off. I'm expecting you to put the wheels in motion right now because you just learned something tonight. You just learned that, listen, if I'm not sowing, I'm not going. You just learned tonight. That the miracle that you're expecting, that you're expecting to take place is relative to your giving. It's relative to your sowing. You just learned it tonight, and you're going to apply it right now. I promise you. It works 10 out of 10 times. It's the way that God created us. Perhaps I'm the answer for you, and perhaps you're the answer for me. So this is why it's so important that even though you're hurting, even though you're waiting on something, for you to understand that you've got to continue to keep sowing. Just like a farmer, he's waiting on his harvest. He doesn't stop planting new seed. He doesn't stop sowing new seed, even though he's waiting on a harvest. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the California kid. We broke it down. We kept it simple, and we're ending the call off with the same way we started it. If you're not sowing, you're not going. You've got 50 days between now and 2022. My goal, my prayer is for each of us to increase your sowing right now. Increase. Every week between now and to the end of the year. Increase your sowing. Hey, guys, I love you dearly, and we'll see you guys all on next week's call. Goodbye, everybody. Increase your sowing.